So we need to look at what are the opportunities at your school after you map out your time that are meaningful for you. I usually like to customize it based on the medical school. So our medical schools now have, many of the schools have what we call compressed curriculums, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, which means your time now is limited. So here's the key. Once we're in medical school, right, we've had this paradigm of service initially so I could demonstrate I want to serve to get into medical school. Once we're in medical school, the service is actually driven a little bit differently. It's driven by, I still want to give. You know, I'm in medical school, and when I did it to get into medical school, my service, I was very authentic that I really want to do that service. But now I still want to give, because actually part of my professional development and my motivation to be a doctor, if I'm just studying all day and I can't give in some way, then I don't feel like I'm actually, you know, developing as a physician. So we have to go back to the types of service that motivates you if I were being customized. And I'm just going to use Georgetown as an exemplar because, again, our second year, like your second year, of course, has a lot of challenging work. And then depending on when your school has you take the USMLE Step 1, there's that context. If you take it after your second year, then you're going to have limited time as you prepare for that. If you're taking it anytime in your third year, again, depending on the school, there's a little bit more flexibility. So I have students who say, I'm very passionate about investing in mitigation of addiction behaviors. And so they want to volunteer at the different community centers that work with addiction behavior. And what we do is we set a plan, because remember, I'm the Dean for Student Learning. So I'm helping you balance your academic requirements and being able to get that part of your medical student job done and have time to do some valued service. So I like to also look at what is your sort of study plan each week? What type of time does that take, right? So I know that that is done. Why is that important? Because when that is done, you can relax and really enjoy your service. What a downer if I'm out doing service and I'm thinking about, I got a pathophys exam coming up next week. But if I'm prepared and I'm on point with my work, pathophys doesn't even come to my mind because I prepared. So my first context is I want you to take time to make sure you've navigated your schedule in terms of your core requirements for both your doctoring curriculum and your biomedical science curriculum. And because as second year medical students, they also have some what we call ambulatory care or outpatient experiences, etc. With that said, then we go into, well, what's your passion? Some people have passion around mental health for underserved populations, which is a big one now. Some want to continue to volunteer at the equivalent of a student-run clinic, and most medical schools have that now, right? Where they're seeing patients who are underserved communities, and they go to the clinic and they serve and they do H&Ps and evaluations with a physician attending oversight, right? Some actually get to design health literacy interventions at the elementary, middle school, high school, or undergraduate level. Now, the reason why I have all these exemplars is because Georgetown has what we call a community-based learning curriculum, where students have over 200 opportunities to serve in the community, and it's actually part of the curriculum. So service is a core anchor, because when you look at our philosophy, we are about social justice and healthcare and empowering the most underserved communities with respect to health literacy and health wellness and health access and intervention. If I have that as a passion, I'm hoping to see that in some of the experiences for my Georgetown application. Hint to my good friend who's applying to Georgetown. Be happy to take a look at that for you. If you haven't submitted yet, I can take a peek at that for you. Go through Ripple. Now, back to our valued colleague at her school. So once we identify, right, once we identify your passion, then we can map out the time. You'll find again that I'm a little compulsive, but I always find when we map areas out, I got my academics covered. I've now made time for an important part of me, which is service. I can enjoy that. I feel good about giving back. If I'm just kind of saying, well, I want to do something and I pop out there, it's not ideal. So we need to look at what are the opportunities at your school after you map out your time that are meaningful for you. I'd be happy to engage you in a nice little listening and bouncing off ideas exercise, because usually based on your school location, there's a plethora of services and it's kind of customized within the school's community-based philosophy and engagement around giving back to that community. So, and then in some cases, by the way, I've had some students going back to some of our business professionals. I've had students who formed a business health network, the business of medicine, and they just formed a club, and their service opportunity was looking at how to look at the business structures around medicine so that those who are disenfranchised don't have either financial resource or access, they actually have a project that they bring to a community and they help implement it.